Nobody expected one late-night social media update to emotionally destroy millions of fans across the internet. And before you scroll away, you need to stay until the very end, because what reportedly happened between Seong Yun and Soo Kai involved heartbreak, emotional betrayal, secret arguments, shocking silence, painful confessions, and one devastating rejection that reportedly changed everything forever afterward. So subscribe right now, because this story unfolds with emotional chaos hidden. Pain, digital betrayal, celebrity heartbreak, and scenes so mind-blowing fans everywhere are still emotionally recovering afterward. For months, fans everywhere emotionally believed publicly that Seong Yun and Soo Kai privately remained one of the strongest emotional connections inside the entertainment world afterward. Every interaction publicly between them reportedly sparked emotional excitement privately afterward. Every smile emotionally afterward. Every interview publicly afterward. Every subtle glance privately afterward reportedly convinced fans emotionally that something real publicly still existed afterward between them privately. Because according to insiders, despite endless rumors emotionally surrounding them publicly afterward, many people allegedly believed privately their emotional bond afterward remained impossible publicly to completely break afterward. But according to sources, nobody emotionally expected publicly the shocking betrayal privately that reportedly unfolded afterward one quiet evening publicly online afterward. It reportedly started emotionally, with something small publicly afterward. At first, according to insiders, fans allegedly noticed publicly several old photographs privately disappearing afterward from Soo Kai's official social media pages emotionally afterward. Then more images reportedly vanished publicly afterward. Behind-the-scenes memories privately afterward. Travel moments emotionally afterward. Emotional captions publicly afterward. Even private birthday messages reportedly disappeared emotionally afterward, without explanation publicly afterward. At first, many fans allegedly assumed emotionally the sudden deletions publicly happened privately because of account management afterward. Maybe new branding emotionally afterward. Maybe a professional image reset publicly afterward. But according to insiders, the emotional situation reportedly became impossible publicly to ignore privately afterward once fans realized every trace emotionally connected publicly to Seong Yun afterward had vanished privately completely afterward. Witnesses later described social media emotionally exploding publicly within minutes afterward. Fans reportedly refreshing pages emotionally over and over publicly afterward, unable privately to believe what they were seeing afterward. Because according to sources, Soo Kai allegedly erased publicly years emotionally of shared memories privately afterward almost overnight publicly afterward. Then came the phrase afterward emotionally that reportedly destroyed the internet publicly completely afterward. Digital memory erasure. That phrase reportedly instantly spread emotionally across fan communities publicly afterward as millions privately reacted emotionally with shock afterward. Meanwhile, according to insiders, Seong Yun allegedly remained publicly silent privately afterward during the first emotional hours afterward following the shocking deletions publicly afterward. No posts emotionally afterward. No interviews publicly afterward. No emotional reactions privately afterward. But according to sources behind closed doors emotionally, everything reportedly became far more painful publicly than fans privately realized afterward. Witnesses later claimed Seong Yun allegedly discovered emotionally the deletions publicly while quietly preparing privately for a late-night filming schedule afterward. According to insiders, one close friend reportedly showed emotionally her the disappearing photographs publicly afterward, believing privately she already knew emotionally what happened afterward. But according to sources, Seong Yun allegedly looked completely emotionally frozen publicly afterward the moment she realized privately the rumors afterward were true emotionally afterward. Because according to insiders, she allegedly never publicly expected Soo Kai privately to erase afterward their emotional history completely publicly from the internet afterward. Witnesses later described the emotional atmosphere reportedly becoming unbelievably painful publicly afterward. Seong Yun allegedly sitting silently emotionally afterwards, staring publicly at her phone privately for several minutes afterward, without speaking emotionally at all publicly afterward. Meanwhile, according to insiders, nearby staff reportedly became emotionally uncomfortable publicly afterward because nobody privately knew emotionally what to say afterward. Then, according to witnesses, Seong Yun allegedly quietly whispered emotionally something publicly that reportedly devastated everyone privately nearby afterward. So that is how easily memories disappear. That sentence reportedly emotionally shattered fans publicly afterward once fragments privately leaked online emotionally afterward. Because according to insiders, hearing someone publicly realize privately that years emotionally of connection afterward vanished publicly within seconds reportedly became heartbreaking afterward beyond words emotionally. Meanwhile, according to sources, Seong Yun allegedly reportedly attempted publicly contacting privately Seong Yun emotionally several times afterward following the social media chaos publicly afterward. Calls emotionally afterward. Messages publicly afterward. Private requests emotionally afterward to meet publicly and explain privately everything afterward. But according to insiders, Seong Yun allegedly ignored publicly every emotional attempt privately afterward at first afterward. Because according to sources, she allegedly felt emotionally humiliated publicly by the coldness privately surrounding the entire situation afterward. Then came another shocking revelation emotionally afterward. According to insiders, Seong Yun allegedly finally arranged publicly a private late-night meeting privately afterward, hoping emotionally to apologize publicly face-to-face afterward. Witnesses later described the location emotionally as heartbreakingly quiet publicly afterward. Luxury rooftop restaurant privately afterward. Rain falling softly emotionally beyond glass windows publicly afterward. Dim gold lights privately afterward reflecting emotionally across empty tables publicly afterward. Meanwhile, according to insiders, Seong Yun allegedly arrived emotionally wearing a dark coat publicly afterward while visibly trying privately to remain emotionally composed afterward. But according to witnesses, the emotional atmosphere reportedly instantly became publicly unbearable privately afterward the moment she emotionally saw Seong Yun afterward sitting alone publicly afterward. Because according to sources, Seong Yun allegedly reportedly looked emotionally completely exhausted publicly afterward. Regret privately afterward reportedly written emotionally across his face publicly afterward. At first, according to insiders, neither reportedly spoke emotionally afterward. The silence publicly between them reportedly felt emotionally devastating privately afterward. Then, according to witnesses, Seong Yun allegedly quietly apologized emotionally afterward for deleting publicly their shared memories privately afterward. But according to sources, Seong Yun allegedly immediately emotionally interrupted publicly him afterward with one heartbreaking sentence privately afterward. You did not just delete photographs emotionally afterward. You deleted publicly every moment privately I thought emotionally mattered afterward. That confession reportedly completely emotionally destroyed Seong Yun publicly according to insiders nearby afterward. Because according to sources, hearing Seong Yun publicly finally express privately her emotional pain afterward reportedly became overwhelming publicly even for him afterward. Meanwhile, according to insiders, Seong Yun allegedly quietly admitted emotionally he made the decision publicly during an emotional breakdown privately afterward because he reportedly believed publicly seeing the memories privately every day afterward emotionally made it impossible publicly for him to move on afterward. That confession reportedly visibly shook Seong Yun emotionally, according to witnesses nearby afterward. Because according to sources, part of her allegedly still believed publicly the deletions privately happened afterward out of cruelty emotionally rather than heartbreak publicly afterward. Then came another devastating emotional confession afterward. According to insiders, Seong Yun allegedly admitted publicly he spent nights privately staring emotionally at old memories afterward before finally deleting publicly them privately, because emotionally every photograph reportedly reminded publicly him afterward of what he emotionally lost privately. That revelation reportedly emotionally stunned everyone publicly nearby afterward. Because according to sources, nobody publicly expected privately the emotional situation afterward to be rooted publicly in pain rather than hatred privately afterward. But according to witnesses, Seong Yun allegedly quietly shook her head emotionally afterward before publicly rejecting privately Seong Yun's apology afterward completely emotionally. That moment reportedly instantly emotionally shattered the atmosphere publicly afterward. Because according to insiders, Seong Yun allegedly looked completely emotionally devastated publicly hearing her privately refuse afterward to forgive him emotionally. Then, according to sources, Songyun allegedly quietly admitted publicly the deepest emotional wound privately was not even the breakup afterward itself emotionally. It was publicly realizing privately how easily someone afterward could emotionally erase years publicly of memories afterward, like they never emotionally mattered privately at all afterward. That confession reportedly emotionally destroyed Soo Kai publicly, according to witnesses nearby afterward. Because according to insiders, he allegedly finally realized publicly the emotional damage privately caused afterward by the social media erasure emotionally went far deeper publicly than he privately imagined afterward. Meanwhile, rain reportedly slowly became heavier emotionally beyond the rooftop publicly afterward, while city lights privately reflected softly afterward across surrounding glass emotionally afterward. Then came the shocking emotional moment afterward fans reportedly cannot stop talking about publicly afterward. According to witnesses, Soo Kai allegedly quietly reached emotionally toward Songyun publicly afterward before softly asking privately whether there emotionally remained afterward any chance publicly for them privately to fix things afterward. But according to insiders, Songyun allegedly immediately looked away emotionally afterward while tears quietly formed publicly in her eyes privately afterward. Because according to sources, part of her allegedly still loved emotionally Soo Kai publicly afterward despite everything privately that happened afterward. Yet according to insiders, the emotional betrayal publicly reportedly became too painful privately for her afterward to simply ignore emotionally afterward. Then, according to witnesses, Songyun allegedly quietly whispered emotionally that apologies publicly cannot restore privately memories afterward once trust emotionally disappears publicly afterward. That sentence reportedly instantly emotionally shattered Soo Kai afterward, according to insiders nearby afterward. Because according to sources, he allegedly realized publicly in that moment privately that deleting those emotional memories afterward changed publicly everything forever afterward between them privately. Meanwhile, according to insiders, both reportedly remained emotionally silent publicly afterward for several minutes privately, while rain quietly continued emotionally falling afterward outside publicly afterward. Witnesses later described the atmosphere emotionally feeling completely heartbreaking publicly beyond words privately afterward. Two people publicly sitting privately across from each other afterwards, still emotionally connected publicly by love privately, yet completely separated afterward by pain emotionally. Then came another emotional revelation afterward, reportedly changing everything publicly forever afterward. According to insiders, Songyun allegedly admitted publicly she once believed privately Soo Kai emotionally would always protect publicly the memories afterward they created together privately. That confession reportedly emotionally broke Soo Kai instantly publicly afterward, according to witnesses nearby afterward. Because according to sources, hearing someone publicly admit privately they trusted you emotionally with their memories afterward reportedly became devastating publicly beyond explanation privately afterward. At one point, insiders claimed Soo Kai allegedly quietly started crying emotionally afterward while apologizing publicly repeatedly privately for hurting afterward Songyun emotionally. But according to witnesses, Songyun allegedly quietly stood emotionally afterward before softly telling publicly Soo Kai privately that some emotional scars afterward remain publicly impossible privately to completely repair afterward. Then, according to insiders, she allegedly slowly walked emotionally away publicly from the rooftop afterward, while Soo Kai reportedly remained privately sitting alone emotionally beneath the glowing city lights afterward. Witnesses later described the emotional atmosphere publicly becoming unbearably painful privately afterward. Rain emotionally falling publicly across empty chairs afterward. Silence privately surrounding Soo Kai emotionally afterward, while he reportedly stared publicly at the seat privately Songyun afterward left behind emotionally. And perhaps that became the most heartbreaking part emotionally of this entire story forever afterward. Not the deleted photographs publicly. Not the emotional arguments privately. Not even the rejected apology afterward. But the painful realization that sometimes people publicly underestimate privately how deeply memories emotionally matter afterward until they disappear forever publicly, without warning privately afterward. And now the only question remaining emotionally is this. When someone publicly destroys privately the emotional memories afterward you trusted them publicly to protect forever emotionally, can love privately ever truly survive afterward that kind publicly of heartbreak emotionally again afterward? If this story touched your heart and you want more emotional celebrity drama stories like this, make sure you subscribe, like this video, and share it with someone who understands emotionally that sometimes the deepest heartbreak publicly is not losing someone privately, but watching afterward the memories emotionally disappear publicly like they never existed at all.